Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my studio. It's a small place, small little box room, and it is not in any way the sort of romantic notion of the artist garret. But it's small but perfectly formed, and it completely does the job for me. It gives me enough room to stand back from my work, and it's perfectly functional. I know it looks like a bit of a mess, but this actually is the reality of the situation at the moment. I'm not the neatest of painters anyway. You can see that there's plenty of paint all over the floor. That's really sort of a result of the thick paint that I use and the fact that I sort of throw it about. There's a big sort of black backdrop at the moment, which is only temporary, and I've been using that as a backdrop for one or two of my portrait sitters recently, and you can see that I've got studio lights set up as well. So what I do for very dramatic lighting is I turn the overhead light off and I put these lights on. It gives a really strong light, so loads of strong shadows, and yeah, it gives some pretty dramatic results. But yeah, I mean, that's not what I normally do. I normally have the studio relatively clear, and you can see a few different paintings, various bits of offcuts of board, which I'm going to probably turn into paintings, and various other paintings stacked up. So landscape paintings in their bubble wrap, ready to go off to exhibition, and various bits and bobs. This guy here, Hugh, is actually a model and a good friend of mine now, and I painted him during a live portrait painting session. So I've been doing sort of Zoom portrait demonstrations, and Hugh has been the model for that. And you can see the dark background, which is consistent with the background I've been using here. This is a self-portrait, slightly sort of bored-looking portrait, which is called Lockdown Selfie, and that is a sort of a direct response to lockdown we've been having for the last few weeks and months. Yeah, it's been an extraordinary year, but the one good thing, the one saving grace for me is that the studio has been open the whole time, so I've been able to come in and work, albeit in isolation, but it's been massively important for me. So yeah, you can see tubes of paint here, and these are the large tubes that I use with my in this case 6 colours, but I usually use 7 colours, and they are large sort of student quality paints. I use the term student quality not in a pejorative sense, but they're fantastic. They're really good. So I use Winsor & Newton Winton and Dana Rowney Georgian, and sometimes I use Cat Art paints as well. I've got my trusty bin, which has taken a bit of a pasting over the last couple of years. It's turned into a sort of an installation in its own right, and the various trappings of my day-to-day routine. So camera bag, painting shorts, heater, boxes full of reference material, the all-important bubble wrap, floodlight, ladder. So it's not just paintings. There's loads of bits and bobs around here as well. So use white spirit and linseed oil. And moving over here, we've got sort of clamps for framing and bits and bobs like that. So I've been trying to get into framing as well, with varying degrees of success. So yeah, this is the sort of the main body of the studio. This is one of 6 studios that actually surround the sort of satellite area. It's a satellite studio to this main storage area, and there are a number of other studios, different artists, surrounding this main storage area, but it's fantastic. So I can actually store my very large work here. So you can see here, this is a very large self-portrait, which I have stored here, which has been in a couple of exhibitions. And an even larger painting is this huge sort of semi-nude, and that was recently shown at the Royal Society of Portrait Painters. Yeah, so really that's kind of it in a nutshell. It's no bells and whistles, but it does exactly what I need it to, and I very much hope that I'll be here for a few years to come. Thank you.